Well guys, here we are. We made it to Opher, and just what an absolutely magical spot this is. Really beautiful down in here. The weather has just really played it out for us today. I couldn't have asked for better weather to come to a spot like this. The drive in here was absolutely spectacular, as it always is around this region. You guys know the hills, rolling hills for miles and miles and miles, just an absolutely spectacular view. But this little gem hidden down in here, I mean, just what a spot. You guys know how much I love that kind of rocky river camping atmosphere, and this just ticks every single box. What a beautiful little spot. There's so many little secluded campgrounds around here. I'm unsure of what I'm going to do yet, whether I have a little bit of an explore first or set up camp, but time's a ticking. The sun is setting, but I'm just going to take a moment to show you guys around this absolutely beautiful spot.
Opher is a very beautiful and historic spot, located only 20 minutes from Orange in New South Wales. Today we are waiting for a good friend, who's going to be showing us some secret tracks and locations away from the main campground. Our friend is a local with extensive knowledge of the Ohir region, much more than myself, so I'm looking forward to him sharing his experience.
Alrighty guys, I've just been here for about 10 minutes and the local tour guide finally decided to show up. Everybody, please welcome Steve from Unpro Adventures.
Hey mate, how you going? Good. Finally good to catch up.
I know, finally meeting Steve in person. We're not cooking tonight, so he has no chance to show me up because he did every other time. Anyway, Steve's out here today to show us a few spots around here. So this reserve is really cool, but apparently there are some even better spots.
Yeah, I'm only 25 minutes away from home, so I thought I might as well just head out and show Ryan where some of the better spots are away from the main campground, even though it is pretty nice here. So
yep. So you guys make sure you head over, subscribe to Unpro Adventures on YouTube, help him hit the 1,000 mark. He's on the way. Anyway, Steve, what are you driving today?
I'm in the mighty old GU today. I was going to bring the Y62 out, but it is pretty tough out here, some of the tracks, so I thought I'd just bring the old GU out, knock it around a bit.
Yeah, now I know what I'm in for.
Yeah,
tough tracks.
Anyway, we'll find a bit of a camp for Ryan. I'm not going to stay tonight. I'm going to head back out again tomorrow, and yeah, we're going to tackle a few tracks and a few creek crossings and definitely show you around, mate.
Yep. So you heard him. Let's get right into that.
And so we headed out. Both of us with moderately equipped four-wheel drives will be challenged throughout our adventure. Despite its close location to a major town, the conditions here are tough and should not be taken lightly. The area in which we are venturing to is fairly remote, with no mobile service and just the sounds of nature to keep you company. Suspended down the rocky riverbeds of the Mullion Range, it is one of Steve's favourite spots and holds some incredible history to it also. It requires some moderate four-wheel drive to access, and despite its close distance to the main area, it will take us some time to venture to.
Downhill section is pretty steep. Well, here we are at camp, right down here next to the beautiful Summerhill Creek. Now, I've got to thank Steve again for bringing me down here. What a cracking spot this is. The benefit of a spot like this is it's away from the main area, so you really get absolutely no traffic down here, which is just beautiful, and I'm really looking forward to setting up. Anyway, we're losing daylight, so I better do that.
I was thrilled to have such an amazing spot to myself. My touring setup came in handy as we were racing the sunset. Having a quick setup rooftop tent was beneficial now more than ever, taking less than 10 minutes to have camp fully set up. Pegging down the awning was essential in this spot as there was wind present. Having such a large surface area, it would easily pick up like it's done in the past in large gusts. Before his departure, Steve and I shared some campfire stories about the history of Opher and the surrounding region. The Ohir region is renowned as the first place payable gold was found in New South Wales, sparking the gold rush, attracting thousands of people to the region. Opher is a biblical word that was given to the locality after this event. Opher was a biblical port renowned for its wealth, and given the wealth and fortune many found and lost throughout the gold rushes, it only seems fitting. It wasn't long, however, before darkness engulfed the valley and it was time for Steve to head home for the night. He would be returning in the morning for some further exploration of the region, and given what we had done so far, I was very excited to see what else was around.
Oh, good morning, guys. We made it through the night down here in Opher in this fantastic spot. The sound of the river last night, it really just helps you sleep, honestly. It's such a great little atmosphere down here. We've been greeted with another beautiful day today, so I can't wait to get out and explore the Opher region. It's going to be really cool. We're just waiting for Steve, the tour guide, to come back down now, and he's going to show us around the rest of this area.
The night was quiet, with only the dominant sound of the river being noticeable. Nothing came in the night to bother us, and no other people came through the area, an incredibly peaceful spot that a few days could easily be spent in. The truck's touring setup made it possible to camp here with relative ease, one of the main reasons it was built in such a way. I was told before my adventure here that there is way more around than what we're going to get to do in our short visit. Many similar spots to the one I was lucky enough to camp in are hidden all throughout the area. I had no idea what was in store for this trip. All I knew that was Steve was going to show me some nice spots and tracks in the area. I knew that the conditions were not to be taken lightly. Little did I know this would be one of the ultimate tests for my four-wheel drive's capability.
So the last few weeks have been really good practice for me setting up and packing in this new setup here. So everything pretty much is new compared to my old setup on this one. So coming up in a few weeks now is the big 2-week trip in January. You know, it's closing in very, very fast, and it's been really good to actually get out and test all of this gear and kind of fine-tune the setup, because it's just going to be me and Tomsy in the truck for that entire 2 weeks, and him and I need to obviously pack very, very vigilantly, because obviously there's not that much room available. So it's been really good and really satisfying to come out, test it out, and then I'll find a better spot for something, and then everything will fit perfectly. And it's really good. It's really satisfying to see that all come to fruition after a few weeks testing. If I had just fitted all of this and then gone out in the bush for 2 weeks, you know, it would probably still work. I'd be able to make it work, but coming out and doing these trips and practicing, I guess you could say, with this setup and fine-tuning it has really, really helped me. And it's going to save us a lot of space in the long run for that trip, because 2 weeks is a lot of time to spend off the grid. But anyway, really happy with it so far. So what I'm really loving about this XTM camp kitchen is that I don't have to have it all the way out to actually use my cooker. If I just want to do something simple like boil the kettle or have a cup of tea, something like that, or if I'm not preparing something massive, I can just bring it out to here, only have it out one, and that'll do us for the day. And that is really, really good. I can still use everything here and just have the cooker out here on its own little table. So one of the massive pros to this system so far.
I had spent months planning and building this touring setup. Almost complete, the aim was to build a tourer that was more than capable of going anywhere in Australia, including the track less taken and some challenging off-road obstacles, while still maintaining a level of daily use and a comfortable ride on the long highway drives often associated with four-wheel drive touring. The term tough tourer is thrown around often for trucks like this, and I think it fits perfectly into that category. I know the off-road capability of the truck, although I was yet to challenge it with all this new gear and weight on board. Now is the perfect opportunity to do so. All we're waiting on now is Steve.
Alright, so the tour guide has arrived again this morning. Steve from Unpro Adventures back down here, and he's going to show us some crazy four-wheel driving in the area apparently. So yeah.
Nothing too crazy, don't want to push the Pajero too much, but I'm sure we'll push it a little bit. So I've got the tool out to lock the hubs in on the auto hub, so that means we're serious.
Yeah, right.
So let a bit of air out of the tyres and follow this creek track. There's a few good crossings, and yeah, there's a few little hill climbs on the other side as well that you'll be able to have a bit of fun in. So.
Yep, looking forward to that. So
Yeah.
it's all down here in Opher, so let some air out and get into it.
And so we headed up out of the valley and onto one of the many tracks that mirror the creek. Due to lockdowns, the track had not been driven for some time, and if it wasn't for Steve coming out the weekend before, it would have been hard to find some parts of the track. But that's all in the fun of four-wheel drive adventure. Now we were approaching our first creek crossing, and although it may look fairly simple, the creek is flowing pretty hard, and this may just be one obstacle that we overlooked. Well, Steve made that look pretty easy for what it was, in the big 4.2 GU on 35s. Now it was my turn in my slightly smaller truck on 33s. Well, here goes to show that clearance really does matter in some of these more remote tracks. A large rock has gotten stuck on my rear diff. Even being an IFS vehicle, things can still get wedged down under there.
Back a little bit more. Righto. Now turn your wheel that way a little bit. Now just give her a bit. It's like a rock hanging up on your rear diff there. It moved, it rolled over when you went over it. Oh, we might have a recovery already. Might have a recovery on our hands already.
Well, Steve's losing faith in me already. Hang in there, mate, it's going to take a bit more than that to stop us. And just like that, it was like there was never anything stuck under there. Up and out and on to the next obstacle.
It's like Jurassic Park going in through here. It's so overgrown.
Well, so far so good. The truck was handling the track well. Although the remainder of this track back into the main area wasn't done with us yet, there were still a few more cheeky obstacles to tackle. Well, ouch. It's safe to say that Steve definitely has me when it comes to the clearance. Thankfully, it hasn't stopped us yet with only a couple of minor scrapes.
Real steady, man. Easy. Real steady. Righto. Take that line, you're going to come up here. Take yourself away from that.
The drama here is on the other side of the car there is an awkward shaped rock getting very close to the door of the vehicle. We're very carefully trying to avoid it. Due to my lower clearance, I had to take a different line to Steve, putting that rock closer to me than it was to him, making it a little bit more of an effort to avoid. Although it was made easy by a little bit of careful driving. One wrong mistake there could have meant a damaged door. It's times like this where it pays to be careful and take your time. Well, now we had our fun on our first track out at Opher, and we were heading back in towards the main area at the Opher Goldfields. A top little track for my first time and first track at Opher. I couldn't wait to see what else was around. There were so many other little tracks like this one that venture off and then link back up with the main reserve later on.
So we made it back to the Opher Goldfields little camping area reserve here, and this is around about the halfway point for our little tour. So last night we head off over the back down there and camped by this creek, Lewis Ponds Creek I believe it's called, and now Steve has one more place that he wants to show us up the top of a hill here over down another track. So really keen for that, and then when we get to the end of that track, that'll pretty much do us for our adventure into Opher. So I'm really keen for the next part of this adventure. Let's see how it goes.
The scenery of this region is absolutely stunning, with rolling hills for miles around. Take a look at some of the shots that Steve got from his drone. Unfortunately, he wouldn't let me fly it after my little incident with my drone that, well, led me to my now current lack of drone. Nevertheless, Steve is still a great pilot, so enjoy some of this beautiful scenery. Well, the next part of our adventure was a little bit more leisurely, with a lot less hard obstacles on the track. We had definitely already seen the hardest obstacles for this trip. Steve was taking me out to see a cool little area that looks like you're on Mars. After that, it was only a short drive back to the main road and to the end of our first OPHIR adventure. Take a look.
Well guys, it is now time to bring this epic adventure through OPHIR to an end. We've done some really crazy four-wheel driving today. A big thanks to Steve from Unpro Adventures, who was my tour guide on this little expedition. There is just days worth of four-wheel driving out here, so you can guarantee that we're going to come back. We've decided to end it here in this little, looks like Mars out here in this little mine gully here. So if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe. Head over to Unpro Adventures and subscribe to them as well. They have plenty of good content on not only this region but many other places in Australia, so make sure you guys do that. Anyway guys, that is all that we have for you this week, and as always, we will see you in the next adventure.
Good job, bro.